Hi, it's Chris again. I want to go over some examples from the discussion that were not accurate or had some problems with them. I want to let you know that I've taken away the names, so even if you go back to the discussion, you will not be able to see who gave these examples. And also, I want to put out a disclaimer that I'm only going by what you wrote. So you may have had in your mind that the behavior increased or decreased, but if you didn't put that, I can only make an assumption. So some of these you might be thinking, oh, well, I wrote that and that's not what I was thinking. And for that, I apologize. I'm just going by what you have written down. Okay, so first one. This student has negative reinforcement. So mom says don't ride the motorcycle because you're going to end up in a hospital or dead, so that student doesn't ride motorcycles. Well, that is a decrease in behavior, so it has to be punishment. So saying those things, it has to be punishment. Here we have another example, negative reinforcement. Child is teased when they're growing up, so then they don't play kickball or hide and go seek. So playing those games, target behavior, it has decreased, so that teasing is actually punishment. Now, if you were thinking that you avoided it, and therefore the avoidance was made you help you feel better, you need to write it slightly different, because as I read this, it looks like it's punishment. Negative reinforcement. I didn't do my chores one day and the computer was taken away. This is punishment. You didn't do your chores, mom or dad gave you something that you didn't like, that is punishment, and I'm going to guess that now you do your chores. The target behavior is not doing your chores, and I know this is going to be a double negative, but you don't not do your chores anymore. Therefore, the behavior decreased and it was punishment. Negative reinforcement for this one, I didn't save money to pay my internet, so it got turned off. And by the way, make sure that you're using capital I. But anyhow, this is an English class here. Sorry about that. I'm also going to think that that's punishment. The punishment being that you had the internet turned off. And I'm going to assume that you're not paying your bill, that behavior has decreased and now you pay your bills. So that was punishment. Another example, my son got my attention by pinching me. This was negative reinforcement because he used a negative behavior to get my attention. I'll tell you, that's one of the main mistakes that people make. They think that if somebody does something negative or bad, that it must be negative reinforcement. And that's not the case. Negative reinforcement is when you take something away that feels bad. Positive reinforcement is when you give them something that feels good. And punishment is when you do something and that makes the person less likely to do that behavior. So again, the easiest way to do this is to take a look at the end behavior. If the behavior decreased, then it is punishment. If the behavior decreases, it's punishment. If the behavior increases, then it's reinforcement, and then you just need to decide which one it is. It's positive if you give them something they like. It's negative if you remove something unpleasant. And the example that I use all the time is me taking Excedrin. I have a headache, I take Excedrin, that takes away the headache, and now I'm more likely to take Excedrin. There are some really good examples of people getting sunburned or doing all kinds of uncomfortable things, and if you take away that bad feeling, then it's negative reinforcement. When you're doing these, the best suggestion I can give you is to make sure you give the example with enough detail that I know that the behavior increased or decreased, because there's a lot of different ways that you can think of these. And sometimes there's not a clear-cut answer, and I know that can make it confusing, but if you tell me that this happened and then this happened and the behavior went up or down, then I will know for sure what you're talking about. So I just want to thank you all.